Hello and welcome to Viva Pod Vegas. Well, thank you very much for listening. This is episode 31, Live a Little, Love a Little from 1968. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
And I'm Mike Manzi.
Mike, this is Elvis's third of three movies from 1968. Photographer Greg Nolan moonlights in two full-time jobs to pay the rent, but has trouble finding them time to do them both without his bosses finding out.
Oh, that is like a quarter of the movie.
I know.
That is a very small part of the film.
I mean what that describes is the plot.
Greg Nolan is abducted on the beach by Bernice and kidnapped for a few days, and then Stockholm Syndrome sinks in, etc.
We will get to that. We have first, though, two emails, Mike. One from David, or Dave. Subject line, another to add to Elvis. You guys have now filled the Elvis movie formula, parentheses, that started because of Blue Hawaii and Viva Las Vegas. Well, now you need to watch Val Kilmer's first movie, Top Secret. It was written as an Elvis formula movie. Check it out, Dave. Well, thank you, Dave. Also, Val plays Elvis in True Romance.
That's right. I have not seen all of Top Secret since I was a young lad, so I would definitely like to revisit.
The other one is from Judith. Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Elvis, the Dog Lover, and the 68 Comeback. Hey, Joey and Mike, I'm still very much loving the show and enjoying watching along with you guys. Thanks. I loved hearing your conclusion a couple of shows ago that Elvis was a dog guy. Well, I don't know if he's a dog guy in this movie, but we'll get to that. I think you have it spot on. He had loads of dogs in his lifetime. I read that he once named a dog Michael Edwards after his character in It Happened at the World's Fair.
That's insane.
It is insane. Also, he was kind of crazy.
That was one of the better movies, too.
He also seemed an animal lover in general. I wonder if he loved the chaos they would bring into his world. Of note, he went through his horse stage when he bought so many horses for Priscilla, himself, and the Memphis Mafia that he had to go and buy the Circle G Ranch, which I did not know.
What? That's not in any of the movies. That's not in any of the movies.
Nope. I don't remember that. I've toured Graceland, and I don't think it's at Graceland either, so I don't know where the Circle G Ranch is, but...
Interesting. I want to know what he named those horses.
He also had a chimpanzee, Scatter, for a while, which sounded a bit of a nightmare pet, causing chaos on film sets.
This is sort of spilling into like Michael Jackson territory.
A little bit. I like the story from the early days where he had a mynah bird that would say phrases he heard Gladys say on the phone, such as Elvis isn't here, and also the story of having donkeys in his empty swimming pool when he moved to Graceland.
Wait. Why isn't that in a movie? Just like cut to a shot of donkeys in a swimming pool for no reason.
I don't know, man. Like there's clearly movies that like people don't mind showing him in a negative light. Like where is the crazy? Like this sounds like an Elvis movie.
Yeah, show him in a positive light once in a while. There's no reason. Like make an Elvis comedy as someone playing Elvis stuck in like a madcap, fakes it. Maybe there's rights issues to his life. I don't know, but.
The Colonel also had links with dogs, being a dog catcher for a while.
Oh, I caught those dogs. I hate dogs. I'm definitely not a dog person.
And also taking a large RCA Victor model dog around with them, including getting Elvis to take it on stage sometimes.
That's right. I forced that dog to work. He didn't want to be there, but I made him.
I have a theory that you were really special to Elvis if he bought you a dog. He got loads of people, jewelry, and cars, but only a handful of dogs, including his mom, Priscilla, Memphis Mafia families, Linda, and Ginger. There's a section of Elvis fandom that think Anne Margaret was his one true love, but I don't think he ever bought her a dog. Just saying, ...
Wow. How about that? I would
Live a Little,
dog.
Love a Little is the perfect example of Elvis's dog connection. Who knew Elvis was going to have a co-star that was a massive dog? The dream sequence will defo stay with me.
Oh, boy.
Also, did you spot Vernon and the mermaid Elvis had a fling with also in the 68 Comeback special?
No shit.
His dad is a model in one of the scenes.
Oh, okay. Well, I love the dog in this movie. It's fantastic. It's a great actor. Like it hits every mark and cue. It's adorable.
Which brings me to the 1968 comeback, or 68 comeback. It's great to hear your ambition to get the change of habit before October. It'd be a fitting tribute to Elvis in the year he would have been 90.
Wow, 90. We should do a special.
1935, okay.
Wow, crazy.
I don't want to derail you, but I was wondering if you thought about a pause to watch The Singer Presents Elvis 68 Comeback TV special. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It was filmed in the summer of 68. Oh, I guess we passed that. But I don't know how many we're going to do. I mean, we'll figure it out. But like, I want to do all the movies first. The movies are top priority.
Yeah. Yep.
But the big stuff for sure we will cover at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Jude says, from what I can make out, he filmed L-A-L-L-A-L, Live a Little, Love a Little, in March of 68. Then went off to Hawaii to get slimmer and suntanned, filming the comeback special at the end of 68, or the end of June 68. Charo started filming a few weeks later in July. I know you're not necessarily watching these in the order they were filmed, but rather released. But with the special airing in December and Charo in March of 69, the order still rings true. So we could do it next, but I want to do Charo.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there.
Anyways, I'm off to watch Live a Little, Love a Little again, as I kind of love it a lot. This one feels like the end of an era with only a few films left. Take care and keep taking care of business. Jude.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jude.
Thank you for writing.
If you want to email us, King, King, at cageclub.me, and we will read it on the next episode, which will be probably Charo.
Every time we say Charo, I think of, isn't Charo, wasn't she also like a singer? She was like, Charo. She was like in the Pee-wee Christmas special when I was a kid.
So, Mike, Live a Little, Love a Little. We have 6 taglines, which is the most in a long time, maybe the most ever.
Wow. And this is a long title, too. I don't really love the title.
So you have 6 different ones. I want you to pick. If you want to weed them down, I can read them more than once, but here's 6. I want you to pick your favorite of these 6.
All right.
I have not read them yet.
Okay, cold read.
The only thing that's ever capitalized is his name. So whenever you hear his name, it's in all capital letters. Okay?
Okay.
Number 1. Watch Elvis click with all these chicks.
Nope.
Photography pun, though.
Okay, yeah, but
and
still.
Sexual connection.
Yeah.
From dawn to dark room, ... From doll to doll, ... Elvis clicks with the chicks as a Playboy photographer who leads a double life.
It's got the other thing in it. This man cave is more like a man's grave. Like, this is when it's starting to be like... Oh my God.
Elvis Presley shows you how to live a little, love a little.
It's the title of the movie. Like, they can't use that. Okay.
Elvis shoots the works from dawn to dark room.
Better. All right, better. Shoots the works. I don't know about that. That's
Number 5, watch the birdie and the fun fly, ... with Elvis as a Playboy pinup photographer who doesn't want to get pinned down.
All right, they had me, then they lost me.
And then the last one, hear Elvis sing Almost in Love and a little less conversation on RCA Records.
I'm going with that.
Okay.
That's the most honest one.
Okay. So directed by Norman Torog, this is the final film of them together. I think they did 8 together.
Wow.
He went blind shortly after they filmed this movie. So
you sure it was after they filmed this movie?
I don't know. Maybe the movie caused its screenplay. So it was based on a novel called Kiss My Firm But Pliant Lips by Dan Greenberg.
Dude, so just quick sidebar. The Great Lost podcast I never started is books that were turned into movies, and you would read the book and watch the movie, and this would have been one of the most obscure episodes on the planet. What? This had a book?
1965 novel Kiss My Firm, But Pliant, Lips by Dan Greenberg, who then adapted that book into this screenplay. He also wrote William Friedkin's The Guardian, the screenplay for that movie.
Oh.
He also co-wrote this screenplay with Michael A. Hoey, who wrote the movie Stay Away Joe. So there's a little bit of Elvis there.
All right.
Produced by Douglas Lawrence, who produced Speedway and Stay Away Joe. Cinematography by Fred Koenenkamp, who did Amityville Horror, Patton, and Stay Away Joe, because we talked about him recently.
Saying Stay Away Joe. That is not one of the better ones.
I know. But this movie is, so who knows?
I liked it.
So the cast and crew, or that was the crew, the cast. Elvis Presley as Greg Nolan.
Hey.
We've got Michelle Carey here as Bernice or Susie or Betty or whoever, depending on who you ask.
Not Anne Margaret, but still just incredible in this movie.
So she is best known for playing Josephine, quote, Joey McDonald in El Dorado, the film.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
There's not a lot. It seems like she was like noticed in like a modeling shoot or like one movie or something. They're like, we need her.
She has such like a familiar way about her that I feel like I've been watching her my entire life, but I'm pretty sure this is the only movie I've ever, and the only time I've ever seen her, and she's just like captivating.
Well, what you might be picking up on is that she is one of the very first versions of like a Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so like a proto Zoe Deschanel.
Can you imagine if a beautiful woman was obsessed with you and also vacuumed your apartment and also like wanted to sleep with you and also wanted to whatever, just like,
but like was also like had lots of cool male friends that she didn't sleep with, like shared an apartment like that. It's just like the show. It's Zoe Deschanel. Like this is that show kind of.
This is New Girl.
This is New Girl in a way. Yeah. But that's interesting. I never really, I don't know. That never really charted in my head, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but I see it.
I think the first choice for this role was Sally Field, who also would have been really good in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. She just, There's something a little bit about Michelle Carey Bernice here that I'm sorry, I thought her name was Michelle Carey Bernice. She plays Bernice, one of her many names. There's just something more in her eyes, like she's got like these smoldering eyes, I feel, or something. I don't know.
She's really good. Yeah. She's very fun. She's very funny.
Oh yeah, she's a riot. She's got comedy. She's she could do serious, I feel, at times. Like she's not the issue with this movie at all.
We've got Don Porter as Mike Lansdowne. He was Gidget's father on Gidget. I feel like Gidget's come up on this podcast before.
Yeah. Was he the guy running the Hugh? Is he the not Hugh Hefner in this?
He might be. So I'm not sure names of people. I'm bad with names because there's also Rudy Valley as Mr. Penlow, the crooner, saxophonist, band leader, actor, etc.
Oh, that's the guy who runs like the Mad Men situation. That's like the Don Draper's boss because it's like his jobs are on two different floors. The
Correct.
Bottom one is Playboy, and the one above that is Mad Men.
So Rudy Valley runs like the conservative, like buttoned up, whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mike Lansdowne is the Playboy guy.
Yeah, I think
his father.
Yeah.
Because then we have Dick Sargent as Harry, best known for being the second Darren on Bewitched.
Darren, yeah.
He was also in Love Me Tender, which I don't remember him in that, but I'm sure he was.
Really? I mean, I barely recognized him as young Darren, as Darren number 2. He's so young in this.
He also took his name. I did not know this. There was a Saturday Evening Post illustrator artist named Dick Sargent. He was like, I'm just going to take that name.
Okay, so it wasn't like a coincidence because there's a joke in the Wayne's World movie where he's like, hey, they're talking about Bewitched, and he's like, Dick Sargent York. Okay. Like that's the whole sort of like they all connect word wise with their names.
Well, his name is Richard Stanford Cox. So he's got Dick and Dick. He's got a couple Dicks there.
Richard Cox? That's unfortunate. His name is Dick Cock. I don't... Sorry.
So there is the milkman who is Sterling Holloway.
Oh, yeah, definitely recognize this dude.
I don't know if you recognize his face, but he is the voice of Mr. Stork in Dumbo, Adult Flower in Bambi, Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, Kaa in The Jungle Book, Rockfort the Mouse in The Aristocats, and the title character in Winnie the Pooh, among many others. Like he's just like a huge voice actor for Disney.
Yeah, he's got like this kind of voice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cheshire Cat for sure. I also I feel like he might have popped up in an Elvis movie before, but definitely the kind of character face that I expect to see in this type of movie, doing like a cameo or whatever.
We have a delivery boy as Eddie Hodges. He just left show business as an adult.
Oh my God. I don't know if you listen to Bad Friends, but this guy is like the baby Andrew Santino, like walking in.
Oh, the little redhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know him from Dave. Okay. Andrew Santino from Dave.
Yeah. But I was like, this guy popped up. I was like, oh boy.
Celeste Yarnall as Ellen. I don't know who she is. Maybe she is the woman at the party at the end. Maybe she's one of the models. I don't know. But she was the titular Velvet Vampire, which is a movie I did not know existed until I watched it for Hooptober last year. Not great, but interesting.
Sounds
trippy.
Cool. She might have been the girl who was at the desk. I thought Elvis was going to get with at the actual ad agency. Maybe.
So this is considered the first true postmodern screwball comedy, which I feel like maybe.
What? Like ever?
That's what Wiki says.
Well, it's definitely got that dream sequence and some weird stuff going on in here. It definitely feels like trippy at times and like groovy and all that.
But also it's like 5 years after Mad World. Like there's other stuff that's done things like this.
Right. And Elvis movies, no offense, because I love them, but they're not known for necessarily setting the trend. They more or less like, buck the trend, or like they kind of like, I feel like they take what's popular and they conglomerate them into like a movie product, and that's fine. And so like, I just assumed that this was the kind of stuff that was going on for a couple years already, successful or not, but they were just like, hey, this is what the kids like. This is like a cutting edge comedy.
Well, so there is something, we'll get to the music there too, because the music, actually, I'll just say it now, the music in this movie, so what's weird to me is
four songs.
The DVD set that I have, this is on the Elvis Presley Musicals DVD, which tells me that like there's no rhyme or reason for where things are.
That's shady marketing. Like that is wrong. Like, if they put me in charge of marketing the Elvis collection, and you'll know what movie you're about to watch. A friend of mine was asking me the other day, they're like, hey, are Elvis movies like musicals? I was like, no. you'd think some of them would be, but like maybe you get a scene or two in one or two movies where like everybody joins in.
Right.
But for the most part, he's like singing to someone, like singling out someone, or he's like his job is musician. So it's like him and his band at a bar. Yep. Kind of situation.
We'll talk about the music, but in terms of like, I want to get back to what you were saying about like what kids want, what kids like. So the recording session was led by this guy, Billy Strange, who's a session guitarist and songwriter. And he was way more in tune. Like, there's a guy who's not really worked with Elvis before, as far as I know. And he was way more in tune with popular music and brought in other musicians outside the guys that Elvis normally worked with to make a different sound. And I feel like this whole movie is kind of like, let's just try something different.
Well, I will say that if Little Less Conversation wasn't in this movie, Edge of Reality would win for my favorite song, because I heard that song a couple years ago for the first time, and I just had it on my favorites list ever since. Like, I've been listening to that song for a while, waiting for it to pop up in a movie, but I fucking love the instrumentation of that song. I love everything about that song.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they did, I mean, quality over quantity. This is what you get. You get great songs, even if you get less of them.
So Elvis was paid $850,000 plus 50% of the profit. So like, remember a couple movies ago where it was just like, he's never making $1 million again. Like, ever since then, he's making like $850,000. So like, it's still
and
basically
he gets a bit of the back. So like,
yep,
yeah,
a bit of the back. I mean, half the back, but yeah. Well, this movie did bomb. Like, this movie did not do well in the box office. Did not do well in the critics, and so as such, it just wasn't released. It never released in the UK because it just didn't do well.
That's crazy. It has such an English beat to it. Like, it feels at times like Austin Powers to me, you know, like that kind of, I can't exactly remember like the name of the term of the fashion of all that kind of stuff or whatever, but there's a real sort of go-go dada sort of moments in this movie that made me think of like, oh yeah, I could definitely see like shagadelic stuff happening in the background.
Right. Yeah. I think another reason this movie largely works because almost all of it was shot in Los Angeles. So it's not like they're like, oh, we're actually in Germany or we're in like some other country. Mm-hmm. Just like, no, Elvis can actually be here. We're shooting on an actual beach. Like, it's not a soundstage. Yeah. And so he's not limited by Colonel Tom's lack of a visa, lack of a green, like whatever, right? Where it's just like he can actually be in the movie where the movie's supposed to be.
Yeah. And you feel it. It feels that way. Like I like the locations. I like his house. I like both the beach house and the townhouse are really cool locations.
And the final bit of trivia is that filming ended on May 1st of 1968, going back to sort of what Jude was saying. And that was he and Priscilla's first wedding anniversary. Ooh. And also coincidentally, Lisa Marie was born a month before production began. So this is a big time in his life, which is wild to me. I was thinking about the music. I was talking about the music with somebody today, and I was just saying almost all the music that you know came out before he started doing movies. And then almost all the music that he did while he was making movies was movie soundtracks. And then basically after the movies, it's like the comeback stuff, right? Like, it's like there's these different eras, but thinking about like his life, like he only just got married. He only just now had Lisa Marie.
It's wild.
It's like, there's so much of that ahead, but we only have 3 movies left or whatever, right? Like, it's just, okay.
I remember thinking during both Priscilla and the Elvis movie, like my sense of the timeline of his life is so skewed and messed up that like, yeah, I thought that they were married like during the Vegas movie, you know, the Anne Margaret stuff going down. And it's like, no, they were like still a secret kind of thing going on then. And when you start having to sort of think about all the personal stuff going on at the same time, I feel like that's stuff for a different show. Like, I can't keep the two things separate, which is why I like just sort of focusing as much as possible on like the film stuff.
Well, let us focus then on the film stuff here because we start off with Wonderful World, one of the 4 songs in this movie, which is over the opening credits with Elvis driving a yellow buggy recklessly through Southern California.
Dude.
And... yeah. Of note, he did all of his stunts in this movie, including that driving. That's actually him.
That's all him?
Yep.
Because when he gets on the beach, there's some harrowing turns.
I know.
It's like call Dom Toretto, because I found your newest crew member here. Some of the ways he's handling, it must be his car. He must have practiced a lot and used it all the time, like driving around town and stuff, because like he knows that vehicle. I would have sworn we cut to a stunt double once or twice, but he is looking a little bigger as the movie starts.
I don't know. I don't know when they shot up, but I know that, like, according to Wiki, he did all of his own stunts, including the high-speed driving and stunt work in the dune buggy in the film's opening scene.
Okay. I thought the dune buggy was a cool touch. I liked it.
The movie sets up, as the description I read earlier says, Elvis is a photographer. There is also an artist who is also kind of a photographer too. Like she's just like kind of a free spirit or whatever. Like she comes out and takes pictures of him, but she's up in her loft or whatever painting, sees a cute guy on the beach and tells her dog, don't let him leave.
This is when I knew I was going to have fun with this movie, whether it's good or bad. She has a telescope on her porch. She sees Elvis. He couldn't be more than like 75 yards away. She looks in the telescope at Elvis and to confirm that like he's a hottie. And then she tells the dog, don't let him leave the beach. Yep. And Elvis is taking pictures of like rocks. I don't know what he's taking pictures of. It was so weird. But yeah, the dog just like comes up and like basically sits on him.
Sits on him and sits on like the blanket, just like, you can't, like, I'm on your stuff, you can't leave. And then she just like, saunters down. The dog chases him into the ocean, and while he's like flailing and wet, she's just taking pictures of him. And the movie shows us, like, the movie is very visual in terms of like transitions and wipes and stuff. And like, there's just a bunch of still frames here of Elvis in water being attacked by a dog underwater. It's pretty fun.
Like, I feel like this movie, so like, we just reviewed before this the new Cage film Gunslingers, and I had a hard time with the like editing and the shots and the way that movie was sort of like constructed. This is a great example of sort of following the mold and breaking it here and there the right way. Like the use of wipes and transitions are perfect because they're used for comedic effect most of the time. And then this, like, you do the still frames work because it's the pictures she's taking. It's also quite funny. And I love how they basically transition to like later that evening, and it's assumed that she has trapped Elvis in the water for like hours to like intentionally get him like pneumonia or something.
I think the movie also like is really interesting in how it just does not let you know how much time has elapsed. Like enough time has gone by that he goes back to his apartment and someone else, all of his stuff has been moved out. A new family has been moved in and is all like unpacked and like living there. And then he comes in and just like, she thinks he's the repairman for a new problem she's having. Like, there's so much time.
I thought he was the repairman at one point. I'm like, what is going on, movie? Like, he ends up actually getting sick and staying at this girl's house for like 3 days. He goes into like a coma. He gets like this very bad growth, like his 3-day growth of his Elvis growth, his beard. And he's like, oh God, I gotta get to work and shit. Like, what'd you do? You kept me here for 3 days. She's like, I just wanted, you around. And that's sort of when like Dick Sargent swings by and Sterling Holloway swings by and like the milkman and the little boy, like we see all like her crazy life. And then he goes to his job because they're like, it's all done sort of in mind because he works at the newspaper, which I thought was a great location shot. We see the newspaper factory going on, but he's down there getting chewed out by his boss because he's been missing for 3 days. And then a huge fight breaks out. Was this a metaphor or something? It's like, what?
So the newspaper pressing plant, which apparently is what it is so loud that all we can hear is his boss say, "You're fired," and then later throw him out of here. And I love that he's a photographer. He's a journalist, as like a photojournalist, which is very cool.
Peter Parker.
Also, later we find out that he's a Sagittarius. So I'm a Sagittarius. I have a journalism degree.
Nice.
He did play a Joey or a Joe in some movie and Stay Away Joe, which I don't like. But like, this is my Elvis.
Very cool. Very cool.
When he wakes up, he's been out for so long that he has a beard.
Yeah.
But we've never seen scraggly bearded Elvis. And he looks, to the movie's credit, like shit.
It's terrible. It's make-upped. It's not like his real growth or anything like that. No, it's just the movie's way of saying like he's been sleeping for half a week. She's kept him sedated. Like, she's been giving him pills. Like, he woke up at one point. She's like, here, take this. It'll be all right. And like, she changes her outfit like every shot. Like, she's like, I'll be right back. I got to go get something. She'll come back in a different outfit. Like, it's amazing.
But then he does. So you and I just recorded a Cage Club episode where Cage is a photographer, sort of, kind of, in an Old West town. But Elvis in this movie does the most Cage thing he's maybe ever done. He shaves on screen.
That's right. I wrote that down. You finally see it. I couldn't believe it. That was a nice connection to make.
So yes. Okay. So the brawl in the newspaper pressing facility, he choreographed this apparently, to show off his karate skills.
Of course, his karate. All right. I mean, it's not the worst brawl in an Elvis film, and you need it. I mean, he has to get into a fight in his movies. I think if we go back and chart it, like at over 3/4 of his movies, he's getting into a fight. He's getting married. You know, he's got his own bingo card in that sense. So I wasn't, it's not that there was a fight. I was just like so confused as to like why they were fighting. It's like, he could have just left. They just fired him. It's like, did you ever start a fight when you've been fired for something before? It's insanity. And that's when he goes home. But I thought he was just going to like, he had a new job or something, fixing this person's refrigerator or whatever. But like, no, they moved into his house. Like, that's crazy.
I do think it's just a case of like misplaced rage, that he is mad at Bernice for drugging him and kidnapping him and whatever and making him lose his job. And so he's just like scrapping.
Could be.
So he goes to his house and the kid opens the door and like shoots a gun at him. And then that's when he finds out from the landlord that his sister, Mrs. Baby, paid his rent and the moving fees. He's like, Mrs. Baby, I know who that is. And so he goes to confront Bernice, and she's just like, well, and she takes off her coat and she's naked.
That was wild.
The whole movie is like sexually provocative in a way that like Elvis movies have like tiptoed around, but haven't really gotten to. And this is interesting in that way.
This movie, Bernice, the character, her entire goal is to sleep with Elvis. And from the opening sort of meeting, she's like, can I sit closer to you? Can I kiss you? You know, and she should be like, sleep in bed with me. Like it's never been this overt before.
Yep.
You know, and I wonder what changed, what happened. Like, this is a very sort of like, is it still PG or G? Is it unrated?
Because I don't know. But there's explicit, like, people are having sex in this movie, or people are at least talking about having sex. People are doing drugs in this movie.
He sleeps I don't know that, I mean, how often we've seen it, but he's in the same bed with her later on. Like, it's implied that they've banged, you know, like they roll over and they turn out the lights and everything. So that was quite a bit.
Elvis, who is carrying his stuff into her house, out of her house, whatever, gets bowled over by the grocery boy. And then this is where I think we first maybe meet Harry, Dick Sargent.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got your favorite meal. Do you remember what he says his favorite meal is?
No.
Egg rolls and hot dog.
Oh my God. How did I miss that?
I don't know. Because, I mean, it's a wild favorite meal, but it also reminds me of Mitt Romney saying his favorite meat is hot dog.
Well, I love a good hot dog. Now I gotta try one with a egg roll at the same time. It's not a bad. It doesn't make me. I mean, it makes me want to try. I like both of those things. I could eat those together. I might be bringing some egg rolls to the barbecue.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So bring hot dogs. I mean, and egg rolls and hot dogs. I got hot dogs. You bring the egg rolls.
We'll do live a little, love a little barbecue.
So we then get one of the wildest scenes before the dream sequence,
right?
Leading into the dreams. I guess also it's the kickoff to the dream sequence. One of the wildest scenes, not only in an Elvis movie, but in any movie that I've seen in a while. Elvis, asleep, imagines Bernice's big dog, who we spent a lot of time talking about in this episode already, transforms kind of into a person, or maybe just like a talking dog, but like a man in a dog suit.
Yeah.
Talking to Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And then leading Elvis into a red room in which he like pushes him through the doorway, and he tumbles through the air, Bill and Ted style, in like multicolored smoke, landing on a stage with Bernice or Susie or Betty or whoever there, and he starts singing Edge of Reality in a really sharp all blue suit.
It's incredible. I felt like it was out of Twin Peaks: The Return. Like, it was just straight up everything I never thought I'd ever see in an Elvis movie. Going with like the psychedelic dream sequence to the incredibly staged performance, like him in that suit just kind of like swinging his wrist and like shaking his knee and everything like that. And then the women's the trick photography, like he stands perfectly still. They pull off that trick photography shots of women changing into other people like so well. Shocking, Joey, that honestly, like, I was so pleased with this moment in the movie.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Also, the song is really good.
I love the song.
So I think I mentioned before my friends and I do this like March Madness style thing with like musicians and like making playlists and whatever. And my friend had put this song on one of his Elvis playlists. So I was like, why do I know this song? I'm like, oh. And he's like, yeah, that's a great song. Like, I never knew that this song was from this movie. And I just love that, like, I had this pre-associated or a pre-movie association with the song. And then to see the song in the movie and where it is and what's going on, I'm like, this is amazing.
Like, I was familiar with the song, you know, full disclosure. Like, I used to try and in my free time do some screenwriting, things like that. And mentioned my, you know, that Western I'm never going to finish, but whatever. Like, I would write sometimes to this song. Like, this is the song I wanted playing over the closing credits of like my movie. It felt like it encapsulated like the tone of what I wanted to portray while I was like writing this like weird Western that I was trying to like beat out, you know? But yeah, I've been from, again, like you, had sort of a familiar association with this song for a little while.
Well, did you know it was from this movie?
No, I had no idea it was going to be in this movie. I when it popped up, I freaked out. I honestly freaked out.
Because the other song, the next song, which we'll get to, I had another association with that as well. But like this, I was like, I can't believe that it's a great song. Again, not like, you know, you were asking like, somebody was asking you like, or does he do musicals? He doesn't, but like, all of his movies really have a lot of songs. This only has 4 songs, one over the opening credits, so it's really 3. And like 2 of them, I think, are really good.
Dude, 2 of his best, in my opinion. I mean, the other song was revived for the Ocean's 11 movies, right? So like that
I have a little bit about
as
that.
Like a mega hit. That became a mega hit in like the 2000s. So like that had long-lasting effects.
So after he sings, or, you know, he sings Edge of Reality in his dream, this is when he starts getting the 2 jobs, right? He's got the Mad Men-esque office with secretaries dressed like Playboy bunnies, and he's in like the sauna steam room with a full suit, proving his photo skills, and he's got this buttoned-up job and this Playboy-style job where it kind of combines the 2 sides of Elvis movies where it's like, we're trying to be serious here, we're trying to be straight and narrow, we're trying to be buttoned up, whatever. It's like, take us seriously. And then the other one has a girl topless in a short skirt that the guy who is controlling the fan, blowing the snow, gets an audible boing boner and then knocks into the fan speed and supercharges, hits the nos basically on the fan, and it just, you know, ruins the entire shoot. But it's like, these are like, it's crazy Elvis and it's serious Elvis, and he's doing both jobs at once. And it's like, it's a Mrs. Doubtfire situation.
Oh, totally. And they complement each other so well. The contrast here is so funny. Like, he's going to the sort of more like conventional job for Matt, like the Don Draper-esque kind of like, I'm going there, but he gets off on the floor before because the doors open and he sees like it's a smut magazine basically, and he just kind of gets lured in there by the women, and he gives like the code word or whatever to the lady at the desk, and it happens to work, and he just goes through like an interview and gets a job there, but then he goes to his actual interview and gets that job too. And yeah, the guy is a very snazzy dresser. He's like, you got to dress sharp. Whereas his other boss is like, I don't want you in suits at all. And so like, there's a good, I'm kind of glad they only do this once, but there's a good chunk where he's working both jobs. And he's like in the middle of one shoot, he's like, give me 10 minutes. And he goes upstairs and he does another photo shoot, and he runs back downstairs and he's changing in the hallway. And it's like a secret of my success. It's like amazing. I was so happy.
It's really cool, really special. And I feel we finally, in a way, even though we don't, we finally get Elvis as twins. Like, this is like, right?
Hey, not bad. I will take it. I mean, this is better than Kissing Cousins.
And like, this part of the movie is where there's essentially no plot, and it's just mania. Like, he's punching Dick Sargent. He's sprinting up and down the stairs to do both jobs. He's like, I want 6 months salary in advance. And the guy's like, you're crazy for asking, and that's exactly why you're going to get it. It's like, none of this means anything. Like, it's just like, he's just doing things. We're not advancing the plot. He doesn't really have a relationship with Bernice at all. Like, it's unclear, I think, what he thinks, what she thinks, or what's actually real about their relationship. I know that listener of the show and contributor to Too Fast and to Uncle Francis, Jason Rainey, is like, I saw his Letterboxd review, and he said like this movie lost steam. Like, he liked it kind of early on, and then it sort of ambles, and I totally get that. It's just like, this movie does not know what it is. But I was just like, This is weird. Like, I just like enjoyed it for being weird.
Yeah, I felt like there was a legit randomness to it that wasn't trying hard to be random. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, well, that's random. Like, why did they throw that in there? But in this, it's like shit is just happening around. Like, so like as an example, like he goes to work and he's like, I'm going to pay you back for, staying at your place or whatever. And then she like not buys him, but like rents him a house. And is like, he's like, oh, you know what? I want to take you out to dinner. And she's like, well, meet me at this place. And then it's like, hey, it's your new house. Like, you live here now. I'm going to go home immediately. No more dinner. It's like, wait, what? Like, everything is so random, but it doesn't feel in a forced way. It just feels funny and strange and like goofy in that way. And just like, this is just the world. Like, people are just, when they're off screen, they're doing tons of shit that like Elvis is not aware of. And so that when they come back like into the story, they've kind of changed a little bit and, things are different. And then he remembers. And I don't know.
Well, that is what's like, it feels like in every other movie, like the world goes on pause if Elvis is not around. Right, right. Women are waiting to like be with him or be near him or just be around him or whatever. And men are just like, hey, Elvis, like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to hang out? Like, where are we going drinking? Where are we playing guitars? And here it's just like, you're right. It's like people have jobs and they move on. And then like Bernice is like figuring shit out or whatever. Like people are throwing parties and Elvis shows up and it's just like, okay.
I think we find out that she's been staying at Harry's house and like they used to be a thing and he decided to sell that house. So now Bernice has nowhere to go. So she wants to stay with Elvis, but he's like mad at her. So he kicks her out. Like this is all like working, like it's weird to be like, wait, this conflict is like landing in the middle of all this crazy comedy too, because it just all feels like genuine in that sense. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but sometimes you can just feel when like no one's in it or no one's behind it. But I think Michelle Carey is so great. And like, you could feel her energy, and Elvis actually feels it's one of those movies where he feels like, I like this movie. This is fun. Like, I'll be a photographer. Like, this is cool. Like, I'm running all over the place. Like, I feel like he's into it as well. So that gets me more into it.
So he goes to this party, and my question to you is, were screwdrivers new in 1968?
I don't know who we need to call for this. Call the Foodie Films. I don't know, but that is wild. We're like, hey, is that one of those? It's like a commercial. Hey, is that what I think it is? Oh, this? You mean my screwdriver? Oh, made with vodka and orange juice? Mind if I try one of those? Sure, go right ahead. That's refreshing.
It really does feel like Big Screwdriver is like, hey, can you talk about our movie or talk about our drink in a movie? And he's just like, okay.
Maybe the
what does he say?
coinal.
Like, there's too much vodka in it?
For his taste, yeah. Maybe the coiner was like, you must talk about this. I bought a lot of stock and orange juice and vodka, my friends. That party was really cool. I mean, that was a really cool looking party. Like you could see, like sometimes the way this movie's shot is like, wow, like the beach stuff looks great. Like just going back quickly to the photo shoot where they have all the gags with like the snow bunny, like she's straight up topless. Mm-hmm. Like she's got her hands on her boobs, but like they're shooting that scene and she's topless. And then the bit with the lifting up her skirt and everything, like it is so. I don't know. Like I have a reference book of pinups and like, I swear that model's in it. Like that shot is in that book somewhere. Like it's hilarious.
It's wild. So then at the party with the girls. So I also like that this movie also sets up the, like, what they call the nothing contraption, the nothing box.
Oh yeah.
Where there's like this big box with a bunch of blinking lights. And Elvis goes, what is this thing? He goes like, it's a nothing contraption. Like it looks like it does something, but it does nothing. Just like, it's great for conversation.
Yeah. Conversation piece.
So then he's singing to this girl that he drinks a screwdriver from, and she's like, it'll never work. You're a Sagittarius. We're just not aligned. And he goes, hold on. Let's see if this box can change your mind or whatever. And he puts the contraption box in front of her, and then he starts singing A Little Less Conversation, which, like you mentioned, there's a remix of it. Paul Oakenfold remixes it. Ocean's 11, Soderbergh uses it.
Yeah.
It was released as a single for this movie, didn't do well. But then the remix hit number one in 2001 because of Oakenfold at the top of his powers, because of Ocean's 11.
All he did was drop a different beat under it. I prefer this original version. It doesn't have like the echo. I don't know. I can't believe this song wasn't huge at the time. This song is also amazing. I have a little bit of an issue with like the scene because it starts off as one of those where like everyone's going to be involved because he's at a party and he's like, I'm going to sing to this lady. Like, I'm going to try to get laid. Like, I'm going to sing a song. So like he starts singing and everyone can clearly hear him singing to her because they're kind of mouthing. But during it, he just like sings to her, takes her by the hand, walks out the front door, gets in a car, and like drives away while singing this song. It's like I feel like it deserved more. You know what I mean? Like the song deserved like a bigger kind of like climactic, come on, and like a big explosion at the end, and maybe the house catches on fire. But
well, the climax at the end is that he brings her home, and Bernice is there vacuuming the apartment at like 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
Because... And she does not seem especially bothered that Elvis brings a woman home. And the woman seems a little confused, but also not really bothered that like Elvis supposedly has or seemingly has like a hot maid. But either way, it doesn't really work because the girl wants to leave. So Elvis starts seeing her out. Then Bernice passes out. And at this point, I'm just like...
She gets sick.
I don't really know... Again, like I wish, the one thing that I really wish about this movie was that like I wish I knew or the characters knew or the movie was clearer who wants to be with who. Like I feel like a handful of movies lately, there hasn't been a traditional love story at all. Like we've talked about this and like it's kind of cool. Like it's not like, oh, like how many movies in a row did like Elvis and Anna wedding, right? And then like all of a sudden it was a wedding that wasn't his wedding. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then there was like no wedding at all. Then it's not even a relationship. Like he doesn't even want a relationship. And like maybe that's a Priscilla thing. Who knows? I don't know what's going on here.
So I'm watching the movie and every like 20 minutes or so, like my mind changes about what's going on with the relationship. Like so clearly like originally Bernice falls in love at first sight and comes on way too hard and scares Elvis away. But Elvis is still sort of tied to her and he's not a terrible guy. So like he goes back and tries to figure out who she is and what it's all about. And then it just keeps kind of snowballing where they're like intertwined in each other's lives over the course of I don't know, it's only like a week this movie takes place. It feels like it takes place in the course of like a week or two. And as he is kind of like, she sort of like breaks him down, you know what I mean? And he gets real frustrated, but then by the end realizes she really is what he wants because she's fun and spontaneous and loves him and cares about him and is actually like a genuinely great person. And she's gorgeous. You know, there's this moment where Harry is like, you know, Bernice is just scared, like all of us. Like she's scared, she's afraid, she doesn't know exactly what she wants. And like, we're all just trying to figure that out. And I thought that was like a really great line to have in this movie because it kind of sums up, you know, all of us, you know, and so it explains her behavior to a degree and shows that she is a good person. And, you know, she likes Elvis. She seems like that's a sense of security, perhaps. And I could understand that. But you know, she's got some crazy methods. I'm not gonna, you know, personally, if a girl came on to me that hard, I might try to go along with it as best as possible, but it is pretty heavy.
I think you saying she has unusual methods kind of just sums everything up. It's just like, I think it's really interesting to watch because it's like, it's just, again, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl thing of it. But I just don't know if Elvis wants it or doesn't. Like, it's unclear.
He has no choice. That is the spell of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Like, she knows that she's going to win because she's your dream girl kind of thing, even if you don't realize it. I think that's what the movie, even if that term hasn't been created yet, the movie is saying, like, this is what Elvis wants, even though he doesn't realize it. And it just has to kind of get pounded into him throughout the movie. And, like, why not? She's amazing.
Yeah.
She wants, you know, she's an incredible person. So
Elvis starts tending to Bernice and he goes in the shower and she sneaks in like in sort of sexy lingerie and is like scrubbing his back and then scrubbing his ass. And he's just like, hold on now.
Was that in other movies? Like this feels like R-rated stuff for the time. Like I'm sitting here in 2025 shocked about an Elvis movie in 68 or whatever.
It's crazy.
It really is, man. I mean, when you look back at film history and see how chaste like all of it really is, you know, was this because Easy Rider was around, you know, coming out is like, well, we have to take more risks and see how far we could push it. It just seems like an Elvis movie isn't the kind of place that you test these sort of theories out. But
also maybe if Elvis at this point, whether it's knowing or unknowing, is just like, this is the end of things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do too many more. Let's just try stuff.
Or do you think it was the Colonel being like, you know, no one's coming to see this. We need to push the sex more, like show more boobies, show Elvis's butt,
I
like
don't know.
whatever
Like,
we
what's
could
interesting,
do.
like, he is not really mentioned in these trivia anymore. Like, he's
This
not on the
doesn't.
wiki really. Like, it doesn't feel like he's in control anymore.
You're right, and also this doesn't feel like.
I don't think he would allow this.
It doesn't feel like he's around during this one either, in the way that you can kind of feel his thumb pressing down on some of the other movies.
I really wish that, like, we could have seen, like, what career Elvis could have had if he wanted. Like, again, who knows what it would have been like. Maybe he wouldn't have been successful. Maybe he would have, like, screwed things up. I don't know. Like, in terms of music, in terms of movies, but, like, what kind of movies would he have wanted to make? Like, if he was the biggest star in the world who wanted to transition to acting, like, what would he have done if he didn't have someone controlling his every move?
I honestly, like, feel like I could partially answer some of that. I mean, he would have made way less films because he would have toured the world. And that would have really been more of his thing, is like world tours and more recording with like other musicians and things like that. But I think his film, like, he has the chops. He is a good actor. He needs to be well directed. Like, so like King Creole is like a great example where it's like, all right, he's off to a great start. Like, if he can make more in line with this, so like I could have seen him working with like the big directors at the time. If there was no Colonel and he was taken more seriously and he didn't do all of this sort of quote unquote like disposable stuff, like the more sort of commercially, like, just, get it out there product sort of stuff. Like, I honestly think that he would have had a couple chances and then people would have been like, wow, like Elvis's second career as an actor. Who would have thought? Like, fucking Walter Cronkite interview. So Elvis, like, you put down the microphone and picked up the director's chair, whatever. I honestly think there's a alternate world out there where that happened.
I'm glad we got what we got for all sorts of number of reasons, but like, I'm just so curious. Like, I feel like we would always talk about on Cage or especially with John Brooks. I remember having conversations maybe on Keanu Club about like other versions of movies and like what could have been. Like, I'm just curious. Like, by this point, after so many movies in a row, again, we just recorded an episode of Cage Club where we're lamenting that Cage keeps doing these like VOD movies that like aren't very good. We did so many movies in a row that just feel like you need to make 4 movies or 3 movies a year because that's just like what we do. We're Elvis and we're Elvis's team, and like we make 3 movies a year. And then to have a couple movies in a row where like Colonel Tom is not mentioned in the trivia, he's not in the write-up, he's not like credit, whatever, and they're getting weird. Like, it's just like, man, like, I don't know that it's good, but like, it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely better. I'll say that much. Like, because it's still formulaic, but it also feels like straight up genre, like it's straight up comedy. Whereas like Stay Away Joe was trying, as desperate as possible to like do some kind of message shit in the middle of all that. And like some of his other movies try and do that too, some more successful than others, some not so much. But like this movie is just like fun. We're just going to have fun.
Yep.
We're only going to focus on that. Even like the misogyny doesn't come across as icky, even though he's working at like this pinup magazine.
Well, I also think he's being objectified in a way too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
from the beginning, from the start, right? Yeah, he's very much treated in the manner that like women would be treated in Elvis movies prior. Is like now he's sort of getting a dose of his own medicine, I suppose, and maybe that's what's helping it work as well. Is that like all of the stuff leading up to this movie, and then this movie sort of turning those things on its head, like taking the formula and being like, no, like switch it here, flip it there, do a funny thing there. So I think it was a good move.
The final song, Almost in Love. This is when they're on the luxury patio outside his apartment or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Bernice starts playing a guitar. This is interesting. Bernice starts playing a guitar for him, which I don't know that we've ever seen.
No.
Like a love song essentially initiated by the woman he's singing to. He starts singing to her. She stops playing. The music continues.
Yeah.
But like, again, Almost in Love sort of sums things up because like it's a love song, but it's also like they go inside and she's like, look, I put this partition in the bed so you can sleep here, quote, in safety.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what?
I thought that was a funny gag, is like, look, like I'm not going to molest you kind of thing. And he ended up saying, no, we don't need that. Let's get it on kind of thing. But I think this is like one of those moments where they're truly falling in love kind of thing is supposed to be portrayed in that, like they're making beautiful music together, you know, like she starts with the guitar, he's providing the voice and everything, and then it culminates with them consummating ultimately by the end, if I'm not mistaken, by the end of the scene, it's lights out in bed.
Well, before that, so there's the divider, and then he goes to work, I think, and both bosses find out, because one's like, "Oh, we got a really good photographer. You should meet him," and like it's the other boss. Like they know what's going on.
Was waiting ever since he got hired, was waiting the rest of the movie for that elevator ride where he gets caught. But it doesn't happen in the elevator, surprisingly.
No, it happens in the office.
Yeah.
And then the one boss is like, "You're out of here." And he's like, "Well, but before you go, though, like, how'd you do it?" He's like, "Oh, I took different lunch hours, I took different breaks, like, I just, like, double billed or whatever. Just like, you know what? You're the kind of guy I want working here. Double your salary."
You're rehired.
And it's like, that's not how things work, but I also think it's very funny.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's the world that the movie lives in. So that, so if that didn't happen, I'd have given it a demerit, like he's got to keep one of these jobs somehow.
And feeling, I think, empowered by this, free of this, he goes home and, in a real show of insanity, throws the divider out the window, shattering the glass, smooching Bernice, waking up the next morning. I think that's what you're talking about. Like, they consummate or whatever. She's gone, and she's written a note in the mirror saying basically, "I don't know what to make of this. I don't think I love you. I got to get out of here."
I wonder if that is the first writing the love note on the mirror. That became a huge trope down the line in romantic comedies and in like dramas as well. Just the lipstick on the mirror breaking up with you sort of situation thing. That was fun to see here.
And so he then returns to Dick Sargent's home.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Where is she?" And he goes, "Look, the better man won." And Elvis is like searching for her. He then punches Elvis, who just like threatens to punch back and then just leaves.
I feel like it didn't hurt Elvis at all. Like Elvis taps Dick Sargent earlier, and it's like that movie where he hits the guy and he goes flying across the floor of the hotel room into the elevator. But then Dick Sargent like hits Elvis with all of his might, and Elvis is like, "Whatever, I'm getting out of here."
Uh-huh. And then Elvis finds her on the beach, sort of sad with the dog.
Yeah.
She says, "I decided I love you." And they kiss, and she's like, "Nah, I feel nothing." And I'm like, what is this movie doing? And Elvis then is like, "Hey, Albert, get her." And then it's a inverse of the opening scene. The dog chases her into the ocean. And then they kiss in the ocean. And I'm not sure, like...
"Meet me halfway." She says, "Come and meet me halfway." And I was like, okay.
So, okay. Going back, before I get to this final shot, there was a note that said the fight in the newspaper pressing plant, or the newspaper pressing plant in this movie, is thought to be an influence on the same fight scene in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Whoa. The James Bond.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't believe this part, that like Elvis loved James Bond movies, and so the James Bond people maybe were just like trying to throw a bone, but there's a newspaper pressing plant fight in this movie, and then in that movie, they might have paid homage, right?
Cool. Is that a Pierce Brosnan one?
It is a Brosnan one, yes. It's from 1997, it's the Michelle Yeoh one.
Oh, that's a good one. She's great in that. Yeah.
So cool we get in this movie my favorite animal action
yes.
since the Italian pigeon double take in Moonraker, where Bernice's dog sees them smooching in the water, turns to camera, grits his teeth, movie ends.
Dude, one of the greatest final frames in film history.
It's wonderful.
I mean, if there was nothing else in this movie, when it ended on that, I was like, that has to be something that Joey has never seen before. Like, that had to pass the test. Like, I know there's things in this movie that had passed the test. This passes the test. But, like, the end is like, just in case, we're going to end it on the highest of high notes possible.
It's so special. But the
dog is amazing.
I just think it's funny that, like, I had seen the note earlier. I had made the note earlier about the James Bond connection with the newspaper thing. And then at the end, we get an animal doing a crazy thing. And I'm like, James Bond did this with the pigeon. I mean, not this.
No,
but there's the scene where there's a pigeon in an Italian square in Moonraker seeing a car chase go by. And the pigeon looks and then looks back and then looks again. And it's amazing. And this is not that, but it's also wonderful, where the dog looks at them, is disgusted, turns to camera, grits his teeth, movie ends.
It truly is like next level Bugs Bunny sense where like this dog, if only this dog could talk, it would have turned and it would have said like good grief or something like, can you believe this or something? But like it is to the height of that. I was loving it. I was so happy, man. Yeah, I was so happy about this movie. This movie just it put me in a good mood, kept me there. Fucking dog. Great dog. Such a big dog, too. Is that a Great Dane? I don't know, but like, it's a perfect actor.
It's a really good movie dog. I don't know what kind of dog it is, but it's a really good movie dog.
Oh, yeah.
Any other thoughts about Live a Little, Love a Little?
Loved it a lot, I guess, you know? Just clearly, I mean, even if it's not one of like, technically like I think it is a good movie. Like personally, I do think this is a good movie when it comes to like a comedy, a straight up wacky screwball comedy of some type. Like you could remake this. You could, when you gave me that sort of like Zoe Deschanel kind of connection, it's like they could remake this today. This would fly. Something like this. Not exactly like this, but something, well, I guess The New Girl. Like maybe I'll go start watching that. I never watched The New Girl. Maybe I'll do that if I need more Live a Little, Love a Little. Like,
New Girl is great. The first season is a little tough to get through because they're trying to figure out what the show is. But New Girl is like, once it figures out what it is, it's consistently one of the funniest shows of the last like 15 years. And Zoe is fun, but like it's the guys. Like the guys are what's good.
Yeah. Well, the one guy I can't remember his Jake. Is it Jake Johnson?
Jake Johnson. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jake Johnson's great. I love him. From that, I mean, no, I feel like he came from that, but like everything I've seen him in, I really like. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably gonna check this. This is one of the few that I'd probably watch again. You know, at some point, I'm definitely gonna start referencing this when possible. If I can.
I have this right now as my third favorite Elvis movie.
Wow, number 3. So yeah, definitely top 5.
I have King Creole number 1 because I think it's like legitimately great. Then I have Viva Las Vegas because I think that's really important and really good and all that. Like and Margaret Great. And then this.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. I'm so happy.
So
I wasn't sure. I emailed you or I messaged you. I was like, I think we're going to be good with this one. I think this is on the better side of what we want. And
all right, so Mike, let us go now to how forced the songs are in this. We have one of the opening credits. We have one in a dream sequence. We have one singing to a woman at a party. And then we have one Bernice playing the guitar for him and then Elvis singing back to her. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is totally normal. 1 is totally forced. How forced is the music in Live a Little, Love a Little?
Man, it's weird because it's one of the few times I feel like I can make like a calculated answer to where it's like right down the middle. It's like 5, right? It's like 50-50. Like half of them are perfectly natural, like him singing to a girl at a party. Fine. Like I buy that. And her kind of like playing guitar and him singing, I get that too. In like, you know, a private, quiet moment. Seemed totally fine. The dream sequence, like, I don't know. And, you know, it's weird. I don't know if I ever sang in a dream. I was telling a guy at work the other day that for the first time in a dream, I noticed I had tattoos.
Okay.
Like, it's like weird what happens in a dream. You know, anything goes, but it's also very unnatural. And then also, like, it's not even that he's singing. He's not even singing along to the music on the radio in the opening or anything like that. It's just an Elvis song playing over the movie. It's like non-diegetic kind of situation, I think. So I have to, unfortunately, we have to give it a 5.
Okay.
Like a half and a half.
That's fine.
Which sucks because it's like some of the best music.
What is the best song in the movie? Is it Edge of Reality or is it A Little Less Conversation?
I mean, my favorite song is Edge of Reality, but I think the better song, you know, I think history has dictated that A Little Less Conversation's the better song.
Okay.
I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I mean, A Little Less Conversation is one of my favorite Elvis songs because of its use in Ocean's 11, right? Like, I just think like that. It's so well paired with like the aerial shot of Las Vegas. Like when they cut there for the first time, like it's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So let's go with that.
Okay.
Okay. The next movie is Charo. What do you think Charo is about? I have an idea. I don't have a fully fleshed out idea, but I have an idea. But what do you think Charo is about?
Oh man, I don't know.
You want me to go first or no?
Yeah, why don't you go first this time?
So I think here's what I have so far. He's a singing cowboy I think we have a Western left. I think this is the one.
Yeah, this sounds like
the Western.
Yeah, Charles got to be.
He's a singing cowboy working at a rodeo. I'm not sure if we've guessed that before or not. Nevertheless, he's like a barrel boy or something, and he falls in love. I think it's like a sort of a return to a grounded Elvis.
Okay. I'm going to go with more of like a classic Western idea where like he is working on a ranch run by like an old mean guy, kind of like a Lancer situation, and falls in love. I think this was like A Place in the Sun too. He like falls in love with the rancher's either younger, beautiful daughter or wife. And there's like, it's probably like a serious Elvis Western. So like it's them sort of courting in secret, trying not to get caught by the guy running the show, by running the ranch. And then there's other like cowboys and ranch hands. And Elvis is probably like, a guy with a checkered past who's trying to do right, but like everywhere he goes, trouble follows him. And this is just like the latest place in his wandering where he's at this ranch.
This reminds me of the very early Mr. Show sketch. You shall not, don't stick your dick in these holes 3.
It's a classic.
With Jack Black.
Jack Black, yes. Mr. Minecraft.
Before I look at what Charo is, so here's what Live a Little, Love a Little. Here's what we guessed. You said for this movie that we just watched, he's a famous musician singer on his way to the next gig, but he gets into an accident, has amnesia, and doesn't know who he is. So, no, but he does lose time.
Yeah, he kind of gets sidetracked and loses a couple days.
Everyone's looking for him, kind of. He gets into trouble, yes. Thrown into jail, no. Working on a chain gang, no.
Wow.
People get him out of jail, try to jog his memory, but fail. He can still sing, but he's a new style. He's a rebellious guy, but now he's a soothing country Western guy.
Wow, I want to see that movie. I think they based that on Finnegan's Wake, maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
I said it's a road trip movie where Elvis drives and sings songs throughout. We follow him across as many escapades as he lives a little, loves a little, and sings from coast to coast.
Right. So what is Charo about?
Charo from 1969, our first of 3 from 69. These are his final 3 movies.
All right, 69, bro.
Vince Hackett, that is not him. That is played by Victor French.
Oh, okay.
Vince Hackett's gang steals a prized Victory cannon from Mexico and blames the deed on ex-gang member Jess Wade, played by Elvis.
He's framed.
Who wants to go straight.
Okay.
So this guy who directed this is the creator of the TV show Rawhide and the creator of the TV show Gunsmoke.
Okay, so this is going to be pretty good, I think.
He's like a serious Western dude.
All right, so we might be
He also created The Virginian. Like, these are shows that had, like, combined 1,100 episodes.
Stuntman Mike used to double on The Virginian.
This could be good.
And a bunch of other shows I never heard of. No, I've heard of The Virginian. No, yeah, those Westerns, they still play those on, like, my... I can still get those on TV. I have one of those digital satellites that I plug because I don't pay for cable. So, like, they're in those, like, higher echelon channels. You can still watch Gunsmoke and F Troop and all that shit.
I will say that it has an IMDb rating right in line with what we've been doing. Like, it's between, like, everything here from here on out is between, like, a 5.2 and a 6.0. Like, this is, like, 5.6 coming up, and it's got a 2.9 on Letterboxd. Like, they're all the same. Like, it's just, there's so little differentiation, but it's not going to be bad.
It's on the higher side of 5. I have a feeling like we might like them a little more coming down to the end of the line. These last 3 are going to be pretty precious.
We've got Charo, we've got The Trouble with Girls, and we've got Change of Habit, which I think is a nun movie. So we've got a Western, a nun movie, and something else. I don't know, but 3 more. Weird.
Okay. I'm up for it.
Any final thoughts in this episode?
This was a fun episode, fun movie. Yeah, this I felt like I needed this one. That Stay Away Joe was rough, and there's been a couple in there that have been keeping me going, but this one I was like, yeah, this one totally.
Well, Mike, we'll be back in about a month for the next episode for Charo. We did an episode of Cage Club if you want to go check that out on Gunslinger. It's a Western. I mean, don't watch that, but you can listen to it if you want.
Oh, Westerns and Westerns. Wow. Yeah.
There's a new Cage movie coming out this weekend called The Surfer. So go check that out if you care about new movies, care about Cage. We'll be talking about that soon. But Mike, anything else to say at all in this episode?
No. Thank you very much for listening.
For all things Viva Pop Vegas, go to cageclub.me or just email King, King, at cageclub.me. Find our episodes on any platform and email us, and we'll talk about it on the next episode. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
And I'm Mike Manzi.
And we'll see you next time right here on Viva Pod Vegas. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Elvis has left the building.